misdirecting magicians waging wars of illusion, thieves luring victims into warped worlds, or conflicted characters hiding behind masks. One of the most prevalent themes that echoes through writer and director Christopher Nolan's work is the idea of deception. And although films like The Dark Knight or Inception have captured the imaginations of audiences, I'd argue that the most unique and ambiguous exploration of these ideas is rooted in his small but no less ambitious sophomore attempt, Memento. At its core, the story of Memento is quite simple. We have one hero.
I'm Leonard Shelby.
And he has one goal.
My wife deserves vengeance. I'm gonna kill him.
But of course he has one barrier stopping him from achieving that. One flaw.
I guess I've told you about my condition.
Since my injury, I can't make new memories. Everything fades.
So if the basic DNA of the story is quite rudimentary, what is it that makes Memento so unique and special?
I found the most interesting way of approaching that concept was subjectively, to tell the story in the first person. My solution to telling the story subjectively was to deny the audience the same information that the protagonist is denied. And my approach to doing that was to effectively tell the story backwards.
The genius of Memento is how it exploits the protagonist's flaw. Rather than simply watching down over him with some God's eye, we, the audience, are put straight into the mind of this unreliable narrator, and we're challenged to walk this maze with him. Now, all of a sudden, all those basic and seemingly straightforward things that I mentioned before are put to question. Is he a hero? What is actually his goal? And do we really understand his flaw? Leonard Shelby's self-determined purpose is to avenge his wife's death. For audience members, this is the emotional hook. His burning rage and desire for closure is what makes it so easy for us to empathize with him. Throughout the film, we want to witness his catharsis, and we want to see him grow as a character. But the thing is, we already have. The movie begins at the end. The first shot we see Leonard in linearly is actually the last shot he's in chronologically. We learn that he achieves what he wanted. We know that he ends up killing the supposed murderer of his wife. It's all quite weird because this is the end of his character arc, the culmination of the entire story, the climactic finale that we've all been waiting for, just revealed at the start, with no context, no consequence, and no weight to it whatsoever. Sure, this scene does serve as a shock to the system, forcing the audience to become active, but I think it's more than that. It really is a statement for our protagonist, and for his identity. In the essay concerning human understanding, John Locke wrote his theory of what determines human personal identity, something he referred to as the stream of consciousness. He wrote, "We are the same person to the extent that we are conscious of past and future thoughts and actions, in the same way as we are conscious of present thoughts and actions." What exactly is he talking about? What is this stream of consciousness? Memory. Without memory, we lose our blueprint for life. We forget who we are, what we want to do, and without memory, we have no experiences to learn from, and hence we lose the capacity to not just grow as people, but to perceive our own lives. That's why maybe Leonard Shelby is the perfect exploration of this theory. As shown in the film, he's reduced to having a minimal, if not any, identity or purpose at all, sometimes oblivious of the whole motive behind his actions.
Okay, so what am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing this guy. No, he's chasing me.
He's severed from time.
So how can I heal? How am I supposed to heal if I can't feel time?
Due to his condition, Leonard could be months or years away from his wife's death, but to him, it may have only happened yesterday. But more than that, the film doesn't just cut loose Leonard from time, he's completely detached from reality as well. Whilst in Christopher Nolan's other films, world building is grandeur with environments acting almost like characters, here, we're on the outskirts of some unrecognizable city. Memento takes a different perspective. It's heliocentric. Our protagonist dominates the frame, and everything around him is shown through his eyes. It's distorted. Reality ripples and morphs across the passage of the film. Leonard wears a nice suit, drives a nice car, but it's not his. Teddy is first a murderer and a liar, but it turns out he's just a low-life drug dealer. Natalie seems strong and empathetic, but she's just a manipulator, lying out of desperation. Nothing shown more than once ever has the same meaning to it. In other words, nothing is clearly objective. Leonard's condition doesn't just blur his identity, it also blurs his perception of reality. So now that we've connected all these dots, what exactly is Christopher Nolan trying to say with this film? That our memories give us value? That remembering determines who we are? Maybe. But there's one key element that we've missed so far, one critical scene which changes the meaning of everything.
What I used to do. Look, memory can change the shape of a room, it can change the color of a car. And memories can be distorted. They're just an interpretation, they're not a record. And they're irrelevant if you have the facts.
Memory is not perfect. It changes. It's questionable. And this idea gets a whole new perspective when we realize that Leonard actually does have memory. Maybe not in a biological standpoint, but in a metaphorical one. Tattoos, Polaroids. Leonard builds a web of words and images that he uses to remind himself of who he is and of what his purpose is, just as we do with our own memory. This comes to a point where even his own self-awareness of his actions is irrelevant to him.
My wife deserves vengeance. Doesn't make any difference whether I know about it.
He acts on behalf of his notes, slave to them, convinced that they're fact, that they're truth, that they're indisputable. But he himself has absolutely no idea how wrong that is. Just like Leonard describes memories to be distorted or changed, his notes are no different. We've seen how malleable they are, how easily they can be rewritten either through someone else's lies or through Leonard's own. We learn in the film's finale that Teddy is not the killer of his wife. It was actually Leonard himself. And in this pure anger and denial, Leonard decided to intentionally manipulate his notes, to fabricate his own truth, and ultimately to lie to himself.
Most movies present a quite comfortable universe where we're given an objective truth that we don't get in everyday life. That's one of the reasons we go to the movies. This film, we didn't want to do that because to me what makes the film interesting is that it is an exaggeration, an extrapolation of all of our lives.
Whilst audiences are fascinated by the character of Leonard Shelby and the complexity of the film, they may completely miss the truth that it speaks to us and the mirror that it shows us. Leonard is, like Nolan says, an extrapolation of us. We are like him, except we aren't aware of it because, like Leonard, we live inside our own minds, unable to look farther than our own horizon. We only see what we want to see, blind to the fact that we constantly rewrite our truths on a daily basis, that we lie to ourselves to be happy. But no matter what, we go onwards with life, continuing the cycle of perpetual lies in a world where everything is fake. Nolan reminds us in the film's closing moments that, regardless of which, we still have to have faith. I have to
believe in a world outside my own mind. I have to believe that my actions still have meaning, even if I can't remember them. I have to believe that when my eyes are closed, the world's still there. Do I believe the world's still there? Is it still out there?